I had plans. I had plans to do other things, okay? But this video pisses me off. So basically, A.S.K Air made a video titled Modern Cartoon Reboots Are Unfaithful Trash. And, oh boy. It's pretty bad. Let's just get this over with.
So the other day I had an epiphany.
You had an epiphany, huh? Wait for it.
I was scrolling mindlessly through my phone as one does, and I came across this monstrosity. The Fairly Odd Parents reboot, and it was just as bad as I expected it to be.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Look, if you don't like New-ish or don't want to give it a chance, that's your choice. I suggest you give it a chance, but you don't have to. Just one thing now. A New-ish is not a reboot. A New-ish is a sequel show to the original.
Mindless drivel plot lines, flashy art style, and an overt unfaithfulness to the source material. And I realized, these phenomena are not unique to the Fairly Odd Parents. These symptoms carry on to many remakes and reboots that have sprouted from Hollywood in the last few years, whether it's animated or live action, movie or TV show. And if this were just a one-off thing in media, I probably wouldn't be making this video. But this is a repeated cancer that is spreading to more and more properties, and is only destructive in nature. And so I gotta take the mantle and expose just what makes these properties so inherently bad. Let's go. It was originally the Fairly Odd Parents Trash Reboot #1 that inspired me to make this video, but now they went and made another one. And when it's animated, that's where I draw the line. I'm old enough to remember back in Yale 2016 when everyone was trashing the new reboot at the time, Teen Titans Go. Then it was the Powerpuff Girls, Ben 10 reboot, Rise of TMNT, the list goes on. No one really respects reboots as an inherent property, especially in the manner that they're handled in our modern era. It's almost a safe opinion these days to say, ooh, Hollywood unoriginal, Hollywood bad. But when you take a deeper look at it, you realize it's not just about the unoriginality. These Disney reboots do more than just rip off the original for monetary gain. No. They actively disrespect the source material while they do it. They have to warp the brand to their liking, whether it's for monetary, social, or storytelling purposes, if you really want to give them that credit. This Teen Titans Go syndrome has only gotten worse nowadays, because instead of just telling unfunny stories, modern reboots, especially in the animated realm, aim to purposely disrespect the original vision. Starting off with the fact that the original creators don't want this kind of stuff, almost ever. We've all heard of how Steven Hillenburg never really wanted to reboot of SpongeBob, but ever since his late passing, Nick has capitalized on 2 already, with both thankfully pulling in little to no rating.
Okay, so just because Steven Hillenburg said you didn't see any spin-offs, does not mean that you didn't want spin-offs. I like to think that Steven Hillenburg was a guy who liked to change his mind sometimes. Like, he said that he didn't want to make another movie after the first movie, yet years later, here he was making the second movie, and even the third movie up until his death. Of course, you gotta be one of those people who think they're disrespecting Steven Hillenburg. Look, I respect Steven Hillenburg. Believe me, I really do. But I also want to look at the other direction, you know what I mean?
When a reboot is properly won by the creators, it usually does quite well, and actually delivers true to the vision. But when it doesn't, it's just a floundering attempt to show it was good and unique and cash in on someone else's creation. Let's give it bright, saturated animation to the point where kids get a corneal ulcer. Why not? Kids like colors, right? I feel like everything I'm saying only relates to reboots post-2010, because prior to that, most reiterations weren't like this. Most were better than the originals, and actually kept gritty tones with cool brooding art styles. Now it's just a rainbow contest to see which show is brighter than the rest. Maybe that'll keep the kiddies in their seats a little longer. Let's make all the characters flanderized and dumb while we're at it. Kids connect to dumb people more, right? It also gives us a cheap way of actually creating humor. Stupid people are funny. These modern reboots just go back to square one while ignoring all the story arcs that preceded them, with a cheap looking animation style and much shallower characters. And they expect folks to be all on board and excited when they announce one. Don't forget to force memes and trends, disgusting imagery, and weird detailed faces. They'll often dish the grand arcs and storylines for a slice of life episodic show, bereft of any substance or long-term stakes.
Air, not all shows need to be overarching. Some shows could be episodic. That's fine, as long as you're good at it. I mean, look at SpongeBob. That show is episodic and is one of the best cartoons of all time. It's the same thing with morals, okay? Cartoons don't need to have morals to be good. Either tell a good story, or be funny, or hell, be the best of both worlds. That's simple.
And look, I've made a whole different video explaining how being more mature or focused on story doesn't necessarily make a show better. That video gives a lot more nuance than I'm frankly giving here, but listen, part of a reboot is a fan service that you never really have to deliver to the original fans of the old property. You can't just say you're delivering something new for the current generation while abandoning the people who made your franchise what it is by watching all those years ago. Don't ruin our childhoods for your own creative laziness. It just makes you ask, why? Not to mention how they unnecessarily have to, all of a sudden, change everything about the show. I mean, no one wants to talk about it, but the current bandwagon is the whole race swapping thing they'll have to do with animated characters. April O'Neil, Timmy Turner, Velma, etc. Then there's the whole voice actress thing.
I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with race swapping as long as I respect the original characters, which is my main problem with Velma. But are you seriously trying to say that race swapping is the main problem with reboots? I haven't watched A New Wish, although I probably should, but I'm pretty sure that this is Hansel. This is a completely new character. How do you miss that?
Black female Timmy Turner is clearly just a cheap attempt to reboot this property without any other significant pitches for change. I mean, for the diversity folks, there must be a point where this hurts the cause more than it helps it.
Once again, this is not Timmy. I'm sorry. So he spends this whole video complaining about race swapping. Yet here he is race swapping. Need I say more?
And this video isn't just about the new race swapping phenomenon, but it's an extremely prevalent symptom of a larger issue, which ties into the lack of respect for staying faithful to the original property. Maybe Butch Hartman wants Timmy to be race and gender swapped, which is why he has absolutely no direct involvement in the creative department of the project. I find that unlikely. It's absolutely insulting to ruin a person's original vision of a character just because people want to see themselves on screen. These people are too uncreative to create their own original stories, so they need to ruin existing stuff to be able to call themselves inclusive and hip with the times.
Dude, he made fun of Mary Kay Bergman, scared millions of people, and suddenly thinks he can cure autism. He really don't give a shit about his vision at this point. I guess Michael J. Grimes would weak, right?
This absolutely also hinders the story and episode quality, as the main selling point here is the obvious element that's right in front of us, but no one's allowed to acknowledge it for some reason. I mean, watch a single episode of Rise, A New Wish, Patrick Star, or Camp Coral, and you'll see that. Even those shows are unfaithful to the source material. It's not just about the race swapping issue. Being unfaithful has different forms, and the reason I focus on that issue is because it's the most prevalent at this point in time. Maybe 10 years ago, the discussion was about a completely different form of unfaithfulness. Still, some shows suffer from that. I mentioned SpongeBob, there are plenty of other examples. I just despise seeing a person's work be disrespected when they likely sacrificed like hell to turn into a reality. And some studio exec can just demand a reboot of it for ratings and completely change the original character into something just to appeal to the bandwagon. In live action, you could claim that the actor's audition and skill level determine who gets the role, and that would be fair, but it's totally different with an animated character made of pixels. Although even that's under question these days when the new Snow White or Ariel can't even sing but are preferred over tons of other actors. I don't know, am I crazy?
Honestly, I'm just done with this video. I don't like how he spent a good majority of the video complaining about race swapping. Yet he race swaps. Honestly, joke or not, it just makes him look like a hypocrite. Another example is him complaining about, oh, we have the same opinion, yet he complains about fucking spin-offs disrespecting Steven Hillenburg. You really didn't even need to say the word, honestly. That pretty much speaks for itself. Also, he calls the new lead character Black Timmy Turner, even though this is a completely new character named Hansel. Do your research there. Seriously.